Program 11. Inventing Ideas. In the last program, you picked out the problems which really needed inventive ideas. So now we need to think about how to come up with these clever thoughts. One of the most popular approaches to idea generation is called brainstorming. However, although it's popular, there's actually a lot of confusion about what the term really means. So before we go any further, let's clarify what we're talking about. One day, back in the early 1950s, a man named Alex Osborne was helping a group of people develop new ideas. To help the process along, he introduced 4 guidelines, which everyone had to follow. They were, first, delay their judgment; second, look for wild and unusual ideas; third, seek quantity of ideas; and fourth, build on each other's ideas. So many ideas were generated that a woman eventually shrieked, "This feels like a brainstorm," and right there and then the word brainstorming came into being. Understanding and applying these guidelines is an essential skill for idea generation. However, over the last 50 years, other people have developed tools which can make brainstorming even more effective. So in this program, we're going to teach you the basic process and then introduce some of these other tools to help stretch your creative muscles. Throughout this program, we're going to ask you to write down lots of ideas, so please make sure you have your workbook ready to go with a pen in hand. We're going to teach you these tools by working on a simple play problem. Once you've got the hang of them, you can apply them to your real problem. So let's get started. The play problem we want you to think about is, how might I get really fit? We're talking about the sort of fitness which makes personal trainers cry with envy and top athletes beg you to share your training secrets with them. There are no limits on your ideas. You can dream up anything you want. The important point is to follow the brainstorming guidelines. So open up your workbook and find the place labeled brainstorming. Write down every idea you have on the piece of paper. Pause the program and restart it when you feel you've run out of ideas. Welcome back. Take a moment and count up your ideas, and write down that number. Now, in theory, you've now written down every idea you could possibly think of for improving your fitness. But have you really thought of everything? Let's find out. We're going to guide you through the use of 3 divergent thinking tools. They're each designed to stretch your thinking in a different way. The first tool is called Scamper, and it's really just a series of questions which are designed to stimulate your thinking. All we want you to do is listen to each question and then write down any ideas which come to mind. Here's the first question. What could you combine in your life which would make you even fitter? Just as an example, we could combine heavy weights with our cutlery so that we could work out even as we eat. What things could you combine? Remember, don't judge your ideas, just write them down, as many as you can. Okay, here's the next question. What could you rearrange in your life to make you fitter? For example, could you rearrange your working schedule so that you worked at night and had more time to sunbathe, giving you a healthy glow? Or perhaps you could rearrange your office so that every activity became an opportunity for exercise. Write down all the ideas which come to mind. Now remember, don't judge any of them. One final question to stretch your thinking. What could you eliminate from your life to maximize your fitness? For us, we'd eliminate all furniture so that it would strengthen our muscles. What might you eliminate from yours? So how many new ideas did you come up with? Write that number down. Now, unless the number you wrote down was 0, you've just proved to yourself that you hadn't actually run out of ideas. You just needed a different approach. And that's why people have invented lots of different creativity tools. But let's not stop with questions. The next tool we want you to try is called Forced Fit. We're going to show you how to use the tool first, and then ask you to try it. Forced Fit relies on the fact that it's easier to create interesting and unusual ideas if you connect the problem with random objects. Now this may sound a bit odd, but trust us, it works remarkably well. Here's an example. There's a piece of paper on the desk in the room. Combining the paper with the problem makes us think about becoming stronger by trying to fold paper many times. It could also be used to put an advert outside the office looking for a running partner. One more example, and then it's your turn. There's a large fruit bowl by the window. The fruit bowl makes us think about bowling as a way to get fit. It might be fun, particularly if we walk to the bowling alley carrying our bowling ball. As you can see, using forced fit is really very simple. You just need some things to look at and the ability to let go of your judgment. So look around the space you're currently in and pick an object. Doesn't matter what it is, just something which appeals to you. Focus on that object and write down all the ideas which come to mind. Pause the program and restart when you feel you've run out of ideas. How many ideas did you come up with this time? Write that number down in your workbook. Okay, one last approach to this problem. One of the simplest ways to get new ideas is to ask different people how they would solve the problem. The trouble is that the people you want are often not around when you need them. Fortunately, there's a way round this problem. Flip to the page in your workbook titled Portable Think Tank and write down the names of 10 people who you would ideally like to help you solve this problem. They could be pop stars, politicians, family members, friends, scientists, or cartoon animals. It doesn't matter. All that counts is that you know them well enough to think about how they might solve the problem. Now, using the think tank is very easy. All you have to do is pick a name and ask yourself how they would solve the problem. Let's give you an example. We have Bugs Bunny on our list. Now, Bugs is a very cunning animal and also very lazy. He likes nothing more than sneaking into someone's carrot patch and having a free lunch. So Bugs' advice would probably be to spend less time working and concentrate on our diet instead. Okay, time for you to put your think tank to work. Pick a name and start writing down the ideas that you think they would have about this problem. Pause the program and restart it when you feel you've run out of ideas. Now, count up how many ideas you had this time. Write that number down. So, you've now tried using basic brainstorming and 3 additional idea generation tools. Hopefully you had a bit of fun dreaming up the ideas, but the more important question is, did the tools help? And to answer that, we have to review your list of ideas. Did the tools stretch your mind in new directions? Do you think you invented ideas which you wouldn't have expected to come up with? Now, most people find these very simple divergent tools really help to extend their creativity, and we hope they worked for you too. Okay, enough talk about getting fit. It's time to focus on you again. Your homework for tonight is to go back to your list of problems and select one invention problem to work with. We want you to practice divergent thinking using the tools we've covered in this program. And just to remind you, they were brainstorming, Scamper, and we'll give you the questions again in a moment, forced fit, where you use a random object, and the portable think tank. Now, Scamper actually consists of more questions than we demonstrated earlier. So this is the full list. What can you substitute? What can you combine? What might you adapt? What could you modify? What could you put to other uses? What could you eliminate? And what might you rearrange? Now, Scamper is a terribly simple tool to use. It's only a list of questions after all. The only way people get confused is if they worry too much about whether an idea is, for example, a modification rather than an adaptation. There is no right way to use Scamper, and you certainly don't have to fit your ideas into categories. You're just using it to stretch your thinking in different directions. So, remember to write down all of the ideas you create as you'll need them for the next session, where we'll look at how to converge on the best ideas. See you in the next session.